Well, it's been a great Friday night right here on Fox. A little earlier, the Cowboys outplayed the Panthers, who were also 1-4. But our smart play of the day brought to you by Complete Home Filtration. How did North Queensland do this?
Always worry about the second kick, Yvonne, because in the 51st minute, Tom Dearden did this. Summed it up beautifully. Landed on an absolute dime there. Good play there from Tungo to impede it, but Murray Taulagi, very good heads-up play from Tom Dearden, and the Cowboys won that game 22-18.
Well, the Panthers now have plummeted to their fourth straight loss and are suffering through the worst start to their season in 12 years. In what was supposed to be a night of celebration for their co-captains, with game number 250 for Isaiah Yeo and the return of Nathan Cleary, but they just couldn't bring North Queensland down. Here's their coach, Ivan Cleary.
Yeah, we're in sort of uncharted waters a little bit to some extent. So, we've all lost games and that, but it's clearly just the flow that you'd like. It just isn't quite there. So, just got to keep, working at prioritising the things that we can control. I'm sure it will come and we'll be better for it. Yeah, well, fortunately, I've been in this position before. But not with this group. Well, actually, 6 years ago we were, but a lot of these players haven't been there. So it is sort of new for me too to kind of come from where we've been so used to winning. But it's, we've worked really hard over a long period of time to develop a winning culture at the Panthers. And winning cultures, they drill down on the stuff that we can control. We've just got to find a way. That's my job as a coach, to try and, coach better, trying to find a way to... there's so many factors that would go into this. And it's, we just sort of try and come up with the answers, and that's what we're trying to do.
Ivan Cleary, not the only one trying to come up with answers at the moment so far through this season. Just saying they're in uncharted waters, and Ivan knows better than anyone else in the NRL. The path to a premiership is never straightforward, and there are different ways to execute your season and to be there on grand final day, but certainly 1-4 to kick off the year doesn't mean everything is over or that the Panthers dynasty has crumbled. It just means it's a very difficult start.
It is, and I would imagine the grand final day is the last thing on everyone's mind at the Panthers at the moment, trying to get that second win for the season. Look, they've lost a lot of players and they've had lots of injuries, and I know myself how much that affects, and they've just been pulled apart for 5 years, and we've just been waiting, and I'm not saying they've fallen, but waiting for this, for them just to slowly drop back a little bit, and I think that's where they are. And, Edwards, if they can get their full-strength team on the field, they'll make the 8. But if they continue to have injuries and the like, they're going to struggle a bit, because they've just had their club ripped to bits over the last 3 or 4 years from players. And you can try and start again, but there's only so many players, and those players have gone to other clubs, and now, like the Tigers, they've strengthened up from Penrith. The Bulldogs, they've strengthened up from pulling players, from Penrith. So that's the game. Salary cap, it's tough. Ivan sitting there as a coach should be thinking, well, where do they go to now? What do they do? Coops?
Well, when you spoke about winning cultures, a few things they can control, and that's what they're going to double down with. Yes, their talent is dripping dry, but defensively, there's some fractures and some gaps in their defence. Now, this is the best defensive team I've ever seen. This is a team that conceded on average no more than 15 points in the last, 4 years, 5 years maybe. They're conceding almost 30 a game at the moment. So I think that's what Ivan is focusing on without saying it, that you don't need to be the best player in the competition to make tackles, and there's some things that they need to address. And when they address that and get their rhythm with the attack, I think they'll be okay.
It's systematic as well. We saw that the Cowboys on a number of occasions just come right through the middle of the ruck, which we don't associate the Panthers with that. Like, usually in the past, if you're going to beat the Panthers, you have to come up with an absolute masterclass in attack. Like a masterclass. And hope. Or have some freakishly good individuals that can pull the rabbit out the hat and go in that contest. But there was times in today's game where they just got blown away through the ruck. In situations that we usually see that the Panthers handled with ease. I think maybe this draws attention to the loss of James Fisher-Harris. you know, and his presence, in my opinion, he's the best defensive prop in the competition, not necessarily attacking, but defensively, I think he holds that title, and he certainly did when he was applying his trade at the Panthers. It's interesting to hear Coach Cleary about being in this uncharted territory, facing the storm, and, you know, with time for season 2025, will they use this as an opportunity to grow? Because from adversity, you can gain strength. Very difficult moments, you find out what your team are actually made for. Yes, he spoke about winning culture, but when you face defeats and back-to-back defeats, you find out really what everyone's about.
It reminds me a lot of, because we're waiting for this Panthers premiership dynasty to look, oh, well, we've come to the end, they can't certainly go. But how many years did we death ride the Melbourne Storm? We said,
You were death riding?
Absolutely,
Oh,
everyone
come
was.
on, Vaughn, now we work next to each other. Give me a break.
Every year we'd say, they can't get there again, they've lost this
No,
player.
but it eventually
they've not-"
happened, though.
It took a long
They're
time.
back again now, but it did take. It does
Took a
take.
long
Well,
time.
it takes a long time to build it, and also takes a long time for it to evaporate. And I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that that's a tough place for the club. And it's the reality is they have not got the same talent across their squad, and that affects everything from training, from preparation, from confidence. When you've got 30 NRL players in your squad training every week together, that creates a great environment to be successful. When you haven't got 30 and you've only got so many, it just doesn't work.
Maybe they're teasing us, and this is the plan all along, to finish 8th and go, you thought we were good winning 4 in a row. Watch us win it from 8th, guys. Got ya. And we all go, oh.
Yeah.
We fell for that one.
I just think there's a bit of reality got to be said about the Panthers, and that's a tough start for them. That's really tough.
Well done to the Cowboys. They've now gone back-to-back. They're going to stay in Sydney before they head to Perth on Tuesday. But the VB hardest working player caught up with Tiana Penatani.
Isaiah, a disappointing result tonight. You left it all out there, though. Your work rate was unbelievable, but how are you feeling?
Yeah, disappointed. I thought the way we played footy in the first half was really good. Thought we sort of got a bit more of a rhythm, and then just at the moment, just little things. We're just sort of missing the mark in little areas, whether it's defence, whether it's attack, and at the moment it's just biting us. So the only way you can get out of that is working hard, and I think we're doing that really well, but just little things are hurting us at the moment, which is disappointing, but I thought there was better signs tonight.
Yeah, definitely. The work rate was there, but it's just the errors and the penalties that are creeping into the game. I know you touched on it last week, how it gets your confidence. How do you address that through the week?
Obviously talk about it, you've got to prepare well, which I feel like we've done particularly the last couple of weeks, but yeah, still little errors creeping in. I thought our resilience on the line, for the most part, was better tonight. We probably had to do too much work, but it's a step in the right direction, albeit not the result we wanted. So I'd like to think we're better again next week, but just little things are hurting us at the moment, whether it's a pass here, missed tackle there, and all of a sudden it's just not working for us at the moment. But look, I've got the utmost belief and confidence in the group that we can turn it around, but I'd rather it happen sooner rather than later.
You've got the Dolphins on a 6-day turnaround up in Brisbane next week. How do you best prepare for them?
Yeah, obviously address what happened tonight, things that were good, things that were bad, and then you don't get too much training there. So just trying to make sure that you're really ready to go mentally. And at the moment, we haven't been in the position for a while, so sometimes you need a bit of adversity, and we're having it a little bit at the moment. So I think it'll help us in the long run, but I'd like us to turn around pretty quick.
Really appreciate your time. Thanks, Isaiah.
Thank you, Ta.